team sport's a mind game, eh? You've got to get them all in the same zone and the same mind thought that they can win. That's the secret. If I can get one person out of 11 think they can win, you'll lose. Losing's easy, Ian. Losing's far easier than winning. Winning is a target setting's easy. Target achieving's the secret. How do you get people to achieve their targets in a team? And that was my strength. When I was an underdog, I wouldn't go about tactics, I would go about mindsets.
Jim Leishman is the Provost of the Kingdom of Fife. He is also a legend of Scottish football. He has come to discuss the newly won city status of our hometown, Dunfermline. To support this channel, click subscribe and hit the like button.
So we're here in Dunfermline, which is soon to be the city of Dunfermline, with the Provost of Fife, Jim Leishman. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ian. Right away I'm going to correct you. You've always got to mention in front of me the Provost of the Kingdom of Fife.
Beg your pardon.
So, because wherever you go in Scotland, you know, we're the only place that we can say we're the Provost of the Kingdom of Fife, and it makes the rest of them a wee bit jealous, Ian, which is great.
I think that nearly makes you the King of Fife.
No, never wish. No, I didn't wish I was. You know, we have a great king from the past, King Malcolm, of course, and we can come on to that later on when we talk about the city, Ian. But no, it's great. It's a great feeling, Ian.
Well, I have to offer you my congratulations, Jim, because you've just been elected Provost for the third time. Congratulations.
Thanks, Ian. What an honour. I wasn't going to stand for the third term, but I spoke to the leader, and he says, Jim, give it another go. We appreciate what you've been doing. And I said, well, thanks very much for the compliment. And I stood along with another great councillor, and sadly Gary Haldane didn't get in, and he was fantastic. So disappointed from Gary, and but I got elected, and I'm going to give 5 years of my life to the kingdom, eh?
Has that ever been done before? 15 years of a provostship?
When it was old district councils, Ian, and I'm not sure how long, but we had 5 districts. You know, you had St Andrews, you had the northeast St Andrews, you had the Dunfermline, Kirkcaldy, Glenrothes, and they all had provosts, 5 provosts in the area. But in 1976, they pulled them all together. And I think when it was district council, Dunfermline district, I think Les Woods might have done 15 years.
Right.
Maybe longer. Les was a great
I remember
provost.
him. When I was a kid, I remember seeing him,
Yeah, he was great. He was a really active guy, and you know, he was proud of the Dunfermline area. But now I'm certainly the first. I was first to get re-elected for a second term, but to get re-elected for the third term is quite an honour. And
well, that speaks volumes of you and your character. I mean, I think you've been an outstanding provost, and I was delighted when I heard that you had been re-elected, and it was like a double whammy of success, because it was in the same week we found out that our hometown, Dunfermline, is going to be Scotland's 8th city.
Amazing,
of course. Isn't that brilliant?
Well, I wind all the councillors up and all the people, and says, I got elected on the Thursday as a provost, and then on the Friday I managed to turn Dunfermline into a city. I says, that's really good. That's how you do it, quick work.
Not too shabby, is it?
No, but obviously I'm jesting there, Ian, because it was 10 years ago. I think you mentioned we're the 8th city in Scotland, which is a great honour for Dunfermline. And it all started 10 years ago when Helen Law and all the councillors at that time, they were wondering why Perth had become a city and not Dunfermline. And we didn't apply, actually 10 years ago, we didn't apply for city status. And Helen was quite upset about that because of what we have to offer here. And she put together some people, and they all started working hard 10 years ago on getting city status. And I'm so pleased for them, because it's been a lot of hard work.
It was something that I didn't know too much about in terms of what the criteria were for city status. And I did read online from the Right Honourable Jacob Rees-Mogg that it's not about numbers. It's about the place. There's various elements are considered when awarding the status. So what does Dunfermline mean to you?
Oh, Dunfermline, yeah, boy.
It's a big question, sorry.
No, it's not a big question. It's a great question because it means so much to me. And, you know, I started getting the bus to Dunfermline before even football because I came in Moir to try and become a footballer. But originally I came here to Carnegie Baths to learn to swim. You know, I would get the bus from Lochgelly to Dunfermline because you had no other swimming pools. You know, there wasn't a pool at Cardenden. The Cowdenbeath High School didn't have a pool at that time. So the nearest from Lochgelly was Dunfermline, Carnegie Baths. So I came in to learn to swim, and I used to come in often to Dunfermline Glen to go down the park, Pittencrieff Park, early on. And then I started coming in 1968. Well, before that, because I would get the bus for Lochgelly, Ian, to the bus stop at the old police station to go up to Town Hall, because I played for Town Hall Boys Club for 3 years. And so I would come in quite a lot to Dunfermline. And more so when I started signing as a schoolboy for Dunfermline Athletic. Mm-hmm. But Dunfermline, it's fantastic. People, and this is why the city status means so much, because when you go in now, cities of Scotland, we're one of the cities of Scotland, and we'll be able to promote and advertise our strengths.
Yeah, it's going to be so important for tourism and incoming investment. I grew up in Dunfermline, so it's very much in my blood, but at some point in your teens, you're desperate to leave and go out and see the world and sort of kick the dust off your boots of the place. At some point, I recognised that there was something pulling me back, and it's got so much going for it, hasn't it? It's like the beauty from an aesthetic point of view. It's got the history. The people are great. It's got great facilities. What wonderful place to live.
Ian, you've mentioned it all, and you mentioned the economic value of becoming a city. Perth have made it known that since they 10 years ago became a city, the economic growth was like 12%.
That's huge.
Which is great. It's great for the people, for the business people in the high street. You know, you go up the high street and for sale or you see all the closed signs, and it's not pretty. And to be fair, we're really trying hard to change that, because we're proud of the high street. But all the things you mentioned, the culture, the history, and just the surrounding areas, it's fantastic.
Actually, I didn't mention the culture, because when I moved back, there wasn't an awful lot going on in terms of cultural facilities. But in the time that I've been living here, we've got a new theatre opened, and of course the building that we're in right now, Fire Station Creative. So we've got visual arts and performing arts. So there's a lot to draw people here, isn't there?
It's fantastic. And I love the theatre. You know, my wife was a performer of the amateur dramatics. She was a leading lady at a lot of shows. My daughter went down to Epsom to do music and perform in theatre, and then on to London itself. And it's great, and so it's been a huge part of my life.
You performed in plays yourself.
Well, performed.
You're great.
I wouldn't say performed. Yes, I'm going to say no. I got an equity card in, which was really funny, because all my family are really talented, and then here's this big silly pantomime dame having to get to perform professionally, had to get an equity card, and I did that. But before I go into that, Ian, because it's been a great part of my life, you're talking about the theatre. Alhambra put on some great shows. Carnegie Hall, fantastic. Here, the Fire Station Creative. I love coming into the town, and I always check to see what live music you have on a Saturday night. Yeah. The Cognac Twins, Steve Agnew, talented guys, and many more. Ian, they put on. I go down to Amherst to Nihat's place, and he has live music as well, and it's great. You sit in, you have a beer, you have a glass of wine or whatever, and listen to these guys. It's just a relaxing night, and I love that. So, and then the historic side, amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if, if I could talk about the historic side, Ian, you've got to start right away. King Malcolm and Queen Margaret, who became a saint. Fantastic history. First capital, the ancient capital of Scotland, here in Dunfermline.
There's a wonderful painting in the city chambers, which I'm sure you've seen many times, by Sir Joseph Noel Peyton, who was born just around the corner in Woer's Alley. But he was one of the pre-Raphaelites, and he captured King Malcolm and Queen Margaret. And that painting is in the city chambers in Dunfermline, and he was like a master painter.
Just on the stairway, going up the stairwell, a huge painting, which is fantastic. But it's interesting what you're talking about, that painting, King Malcolm and Queen Margaret, they're sitting, and she's got a book, and she's teaching King Malcolm to read. King Malcolm was a hunter. And obviously Queen Margaret, she was different, she was well educated, but she taught him and learnt him several languages. Amazing.
She's responsible for bringing culture to Scotland, because it was quite a barbaric place in those days.
Well, as I say, he was a hunter. He would go out with his son, and they would go fighting wars and hunting the deer and whatever in this area. And it's great. I'm so proud, King Malcolm, the King of Scotland, and Queen Margaret here, King James VI first. Bringing, it wasn't called a union. I don't think it was a union. It was Great Britain, making it the first Great Britain. So the history is phenomenal. Dunfermline Abbey, wow, what a place that is. Yeah. And inside that, the grave of Robert the Bruce, although his heart's not there. I think his heart's down at Peebles, I think.
In Melrose.
Melrose, sorry, I keep getting that wrong. Down at Melrose, but when you go in and you see the King Robert the Bruce, and then the Tiffany window.
Yeah.
Fantastic, millions of pounds donated by Andrew Carnegie. It was fantastic. Yeah. And it's iconic, one of the best 15th century abbeys in the whole of Europe. We've not mentioned really in depth the locals call it the Glen, but Pittencrieff Park, a fantastic place. I go around there and have a walk round, and especially when the sun's out, you're walking around, and you've got the gardens, and the surrounding areas. You've got the Peacock restaurant, and you've got the squirrels everywhere. And
it's a paradise, really, isn't it?
It's fantastic, fantastic. Then just along the road, round the corner, we have Carnegie Museum. And what a man he's done, not just for Dunfermline. We've got Dunfermline Library, you've got the Louise Carnegie Gates to the entrance to the Glen, and then you've got the Carnegie Leisure Centre. Yeah. Fantastic. It was originally a swimming pool and a wee gym, but now look at it now, it's got everything.
Great facilities.
It's super.
You mentioned the peacocks there. Do you know that my next door neighbour breeds peacocks in his bedroom upstairs, and then lets them go, and they wander all around the streets here?
Oh, brilliant.
There's like 28 peacocks in Dunfermline wandering around the streets.
Well, I hope the dogs keep away from them, because they're beautiful, beautiful birds. It's funny you're saying that, because in my house I've got a bedroom. One of my bedrooms is my peacock bedroom.
All right.
Right, and because I've been down to see all the people, and when they started to try and reintroduce the peacocks, they were young chicks, and I hope that's the right word for the young birds. But and then they didn't make it through, and then they got someone to come along and educate them and show them how to breed, how to bring them up, and the success rate's a lot better. And you go down, and when the fan comes out of the peacock, it's just amazing. It's great for the youngsters, because when I was young, they were roaming the Glen, and they walk, and then you would see them great everywhere, and phenomenal. So that's what we're hoping to achieve again.
Well, just staying on your political career, Jim, what would you say is the highlight in the last 10 years? Is there anything that stands out as particularly memorable for you?
I got a nice award from the Polish War Veterans, Ian. And it was a lady called Lucinda McAllister. She started this, and she was taking she was taking young teenagers from Fife to Poland that were maybe just needing a wee lift, a wee bit more encouragement. And she was bringing Polish kids with a similar background across here. And I got involved in that. I went across, and it was a great story. And I got a beautiful medal from the Polish War veterans for my help with that, and that was quite an honour. There's been that many things that I've tried to help with, Ian.
Well, it's interesting that you shared those stories, because it kind of brings me on to your success as a football manager. And I've got to put my cards on the table. I'm a football dunce, but I'm interested in the characteristics of success and leadership. And you've had an incredible success with Dunfermline and Livingston, and then to sidestep into politics and to be elected provost.
Yeah.
You know something about success. I was in the pub in the old inn in Dunfermline. You were there also, actually, but I was chatting to Craig Levine, the former Scotland manager, and he asked me, oddly enough, what I thought was the secret to success, and I said it was probably tenacity rather than talent, and he sort of agreed. He thought like hard work was really. What do you think about that?
I think the first thing you've got to do, when I got the job, Ian, when I got the job at 29-year-old Dunfermline Football Club, I was very inexperienced. I had been in charge of Kelty Hearts, and then I did a couple of things, and I got the youth team job, the reserve job, then I got offered the first team job, and £50 a week and 6 litres of petrol. And I looked at it, and my attitude at that time, Dunfermline were 34th out of 38 teams, and I says, I can't be any worse, so give it a go. And initially it was hard work. I was 6 out of 7 days a week at the football club, all hours. Whatever I had to do, I did it. I went in and I had to learn, and then I started to get sex. I think my secret, but initially, Ian, it's like a game of football. At 3 o'clock, you've got to do the hard work. You've got to be prepared to do the hard work, and then your talent shines through as a footballer. The wee bit of skill you've got will turn a game, or one good pass because you've got that talent. But if you don't put the hard work in, real hard work, prepare to meet your opponent, beat your opponent, and then go and show your skills. That is the most important thing. But I signed good players, Ian. That was one of my biggest strengths. When I took over, I had 26 players, and I got rid of 11 players in the one go. At the end of the year, and I knew that for me to be better, I had to bring better players in, which I did. I introduced John Watson, Ian McCall, Mark Smith, all these guys who became legends at the football club. And when I was doing well, I would introduce another player, and that kept the players. They're saying, "Heck, we're top of the league here," and they're still signing players. So they couldn't relax. They had to say, "Oh, hey, I better keep doing this, or I'm going to get left out." And then I brought Paul Smith in, Raymond Farningham, Stuart Rafferty, Istvan Kozma, Ian McCall. My God, I can go on, the players brought on. And that's how I got my success. But hard work's the most important thing. And you've got to be... I had no fear, Ian. When I was 29, I had no fear. I couldn't... Right, my ambition was to go and manage against Jim McLean. At that time, manage against Alec Ferguson, Billy McNeil, John Gregg, all the top managers in Scotland at the time. Well, there's another story with Alec Ferguson where he went and whatever, but I wanted to be... I want to be up there. I want to be up there, and that was my aim and ambition.
I bought Alex Ferguson's book, Leading, and I went to see him at the Royal Concert Hall in Glasgow.
Great.
And he made a point, and I think this very much applies to you, is that it takes 2 seconds just to say hello to somebody in the morning. You pass them in the corridor, and he would make the effort to get to know the dinner ladies as well, because everybody within the club is part of the whole operation. And that's something that makes me think of you. You have the common touch, and that's what makes you a success, in my opinion, as a provost and as a football manager. What do you have to say about that?
In football management, Ian, you have to motivate a team once a week, right? You play your game, you get a result, or you get beat, then you've got to move on to the next game right away. Right away, whether you win or lose or draw, you've got to move on. And one of the best motivational things is recognition. Recognition and recognition. Recognise you walking along the corridor, going to the dressing room, Ian, great last week, keep it going, eh? That's what we need. That's your standard now. Keep that going. Well done. And that's all I need to say. And that makes you feel, well, he appreciates what I've done. Right? He appreciates what I've done. Then go to John Watson and say, John, wow, I need you today. I need you this week. This is really important. I need you to get out there and be up for this. No 3/4, John, that we're guaranteed that, but I need 105. And just that, and it gives them the lift. And I recognise, and he recognises how important he is to the team.
I think all too often, teachers and other leaders, they forget that people, especially young people, need encouragement. They thrive on it. And if I can share with you a story that will sound trivial and daft by comparison to the things that you've been talking about, but when I was campaigning with my friends to convert this building into an art centre, I was invited along to a small group, and you were in attendance at that group, and I had to give a presentation it was a community council, about why this would be good for the town. And I was really nervous. I told you I always get match nervous before I speak. And I got to the end of it and I thought, I hope I did a good job there, because I hadn't really had any encouragement in my career, from outsiders for a long time. And you gave me a pat on the back. And I know it's a simple thing, but people forget to do simple things like that, and it makes the world of difference. Just to say, it's an acknowledgement. You're on the right path. Keep going, and that these simple things are for somehow beyond the reach of some leaders. I don't know why.
It's so simple, and what you say, 2 seconds, Martin, going along the high street. How are you today? Didn't know the people. Everything okay? Great. What a nice day. And Ian, I was born in Lochgelly, yeah? Mm-hmm. My dad was a coal miner, worked down the pit, a hard-working man. My mum worked in the factory. Great parents. I never got... I got the finger point, and I got a raised voice now and again, but never got slapped. Never. I got so much encouragement. You can do this. You can do this, James. Go for it. You're as good as them. Great. And that means that the world. I'll give you one story about my dad, right? Mm-hmm. I was playing for Dunfermline, and we're playing Rangers, and he's reading his paper, and Derek Parlane had scored 2 hat-tricks. He had scored 2 hat-tricks the 2 games before, and he was going for a treble hat-trick. And he's reading it, and my dad was a Rangers supporter, although he supported me, and if Dunfermline were playing, he came to see us, and whatever, every week, my mum and dad came to see me play. And I'm just going to the door, and he says to me, James, I says, what, Dad? I said, I'm away at the game. I says, I know. Can I tell you something? I says, what's that? Derek Parlane could never be as good a son to me as you've been. How does that make you feel? Again, he's noticed that Derek Parlane's going for this. And I put my hand on my heart, and I swear on my 2 kids' lives, Derek Parlane got taken off at half-time. And I was on the Sunday Mail Team of the Day the next day. And I could not stop thinking before the game what my father said to me.
Because
it made me feel invincible, Ian.
Sportsmen or competitors, they don't play with their mind, they play with their heart, don't they? I think understanding that is important for a leader.
I think there's a mixture of both, Ian, team sport's a mind game, eh? You've got to get them all in the same zone and the same mind thought that they can win. That's the secret. If I can get one person out of 11 think they can win, you'll lose. Losing's easy, Ian. Losing's far easier than winning. Winning is a target setting's easy. Target achievement's the secret. How do you get people to achieve their targets in a team? And that was my strength. When I was an underdog, I wouldn't go about tactics. I would go about mindsets. About a mindset. I don't know if you want me to give you a couple of examples. We got drawn. The first one, Dunfermline had come up to the Premier League for the first time. And we got drawn against Rangers in the Cup. So I says, wow, the first big game since the 60s, a really important game. So I say to the players, I went to the board and said, look, can I get some fun? I want to go and take the players away before the big game. And the director says, right, Jim, that's what you've got. And I says, right, okay. And I looked at the players and I got them all together. I says, look, lads, I can't pay you like Graham Souness is paying Terry Butcher and Chris Woods and Trevor Stevens, Mark Watts, Alan McCoy. I can't pay you that, but I can treat you like them. And I took them up to the Old Course Hotel in St Andrews. I went up to the Old Course Hotel Ian to meet a guy called Russ Furlong, who was the general manager, the managing director of the Old Course, and I sat down and I said, Russ, I don't know what game it was, I'd like to bring the team up. And there's my budget. He says, oh, right, Jim. Right, if you come up on the Friday, we'll give you dinner on the Friday, put them up, and on the Saturday, you get a pre-match lunch. I says, no, Russ, I want to come up on the Wednesday. And he laughed. Jim, I'm doing a favour with the budget you've got. I'm doing you a favour. It's Old Course Hotel, man. I says, Russ, listen to me. I'm telling you, I'm going to bring BBC TV, STV, Grampian TV, Saints and Greavesy, national TV. Every single newspaper in Scotland, national newspaper, will be here getting photographs of your team on your campus, on your site, and they'll be in the background, the hotel, all your facilities. They'll be coming here. Nobody's going off site to do any interviews. We're doing them all here. Radio, everything, talking about where we are, how we're preparing. Mm-hmm. How much are you going to give me to come? Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah, and that was my way of thinking. Yeah? That was my way of thinking. Yeah. That would have cost them thousands of pounds for that advertising. And the secret, I can go to the Fairmount. That's clever for me, and that was clever. That was my because I'm treating my players properly.
Yes,
that's what they mean to me.
Yeah,
the same as at them. They can't change their wage structure or whatever, but I can treat you like them.
Well, that's
and we won 2-0. You remember?
Aye. Well, whenever I've seen you in public,
mm-hmm.
and I saw you earlier down in the cafe, you know, you make everybody feel special, like they're important, and that's a wonderful gift. Yeah. That's extremely rare. You can't. I don't think you can learn that really, but you have that gift, don't you?
It's just my nature, Ian.
Aye.
Just my nature. I want to finish the Rangers story, Ian.
Yeah.
Because the bit I really want to talk about. Sorry, I've jumped ahead. I've cut you short there. I didn't mean to.
No, it's fine.
I'm in the President's suite at the Old Course. Beautiful, beautiful suite, and I'm going round and. I've got a big lounge and a huge bedroom, and I was pressing this button, and the curtains were open and shut, and I was like the king of the world, you know. I'm like Lord, whoever, And the phone rings. I was in the toilet, and the phone rings in the toilet, and I picks it up. It was a reporter, Jim Black. Well, Jim, big game tomorrow on Saturday. I says, aye. He says, what you thinking? We're all right. He says, have you got a theme? No, maybe. I'm reading the Bible. I maybe quote for the Bible. And he said, I'll be interested. I said, I'm not what saying. I want to tell the players first. And I goes, and my talk on the Saturday was about David and Goliath. Right? I says, right, lads, Goliath's coming through for Glasgow today, and he thinks you're a wee David. And he's a big bully. And he's coming through to bully you. Oh, yes, you're going to get bullied. I'm wanting you, right, to take a step forward and fire the first pass, fire the first shot goal. Instead of standing back and getting them, bullying you and shooting at you all the time, have the courage to go forward and attack. If we get beat, we've gave it a go. You can't beat that. And David looked at this big bully and didn't fear him. And that big bully didn't know what to do when David made the approach. I want you to feel like that, right? Feel like that and go out and fire the first shot. Well, the boys, you saw them. I saw them at the dressing room sitting up and saying, hey, come on. You know what I get bullied. I'm a grown man. I'm a tough guy. I can head the ball. And they all, you saw them all groaning because I believed that they could do it. And they joined in here. And that was I wasn't a great tactician. I wasn't a great at this, coaching or whatever. But mental tacticians.
Good psychologist.
That was it. And getting into there. And then you can train them Monday to Friday. You can run them about and do this, do that. Then Saturday, you lose everything if they didn't know what to do it. So that is important time. That is, you've prepared them for the performance. Great. I had people to do that. Great. And then you've got to get them to perform. And that's what I was good at. How would you feel if I was talking to you like that, Ian, before, son?
Well, I think it's wonderful that you quote from the Bible in the dressing room. That's great. But these stories, they've lasted thousands of years, and for a reason. They work. They connect with people. And
didn't let a bully you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have one scripted football question, because as I told you, I'm a football dunce. Who was the last player to score a winning goal at Ibrox for the Pars?
Ian. Oh, I get stick about that. Oh, I know that same old stuff. But I keep telling people. 50 years ago, I says, come on, that's a disgrace that Dunfermline Athletic Football Club haven't beat Rangers in Glasgow for 50 years. 1972, that's ridiculous, man. And until somebody beats it, I can talk about it.
Aye.
So come on, get somebody to do it, and then I'll stop talking about it, because I have a laugh about it now, eh? But we beat Celtic. I beat Celtic in Glasgow. I think Jimmy Calder, we beat Celtic in Glasgow and whatever. So we went into Parkhead and win, but why we've not been able to do it in Glasgow, at Ibrox, I don't know.
Aye.
But that was me, and I was only 18, eh? And I can remember the thoughts after it. It was great. 2 weeks after it, Rangers went to play in Barcelona against Moscow Dynamo to win the European Cup Winners' Cup, and I was on £12 a week, Ian, at that time.
Incredible.
And after it, the manager, George Muller, gave me a tenner. He must have had a bet on it. He must have had a big bet on it. He used to call me Don Juan. Big Don Juan. He gave me a cuddle and he gave me a tenner. I wasn't even up the tunnel. Yay! So he must have won a few bob, eh?
Aye.
But that's what I mind about that.
When we were chatting earlier, you were telling me that you are bringing out a new product. Tell us about that.
Well, again, that was just a trial thing, eh? My friend and I, Robert Stocker, we're partners in a new gin, classic gin. It's called Jim Leishman. Jim Leishman, eh? So, just as I say, no flavours of that, just a classic gin. You can add your own flavours to it. So we're giving it a go, Ian, and thanks very much for taking a couple of bottles to promote it in the Fire Station Creative. That'd be great.
We'll do that, no problem.
Great, it's just a laugh, Ian.
Aye.
We're testing the market, and if it kicks, it's not going to make loads and loads of dosh here, and we're not even thinking about that. It's just something we fancy doing.
A bit of fun. Aye.
A bit of fun, and you never know. You never know.
Well, anything I can do to repay you, Jim, because you have been a long-time supporter of this organisation.
Yep.
You were there standing with me in the snow 10 years ago before we ever knew it was going to happen. And you and along with Alec Rowley and the Labour Party put your shoulder behind the wheel and made Fire Station Creative a possibility. So thank you so much for everything that you've done for this place and for Fife and for the Pars.
It's not one of these jobs that I struggle to get out of my bed and say, I can't be bothered today. You know, the Fife means a lot to me, and I was born in Lochgelly, Dunfermline. When I was a manager at the football club, it was my second home coming into Dunfermline, and I've got so many great memories, a lot of downs and everything, but you pick yourself up for that, Ian, eh? Life's a journey. Ian, you're born, you die, and you go. Most people go along a straight line, Ian, and then you either go below the line or above the line. Above the line is brilliant because it's enjoyable and you're getting praise and everything, and it's great. But it's how you handle yourself when you're below the line. And I think when I've been below the line, I've handled myself with a wee bit of dignity, a wee bit of respect. I'm talking about when I left Dunfermline the first time, I could have went out and criticised everything, but I didn't do that. I just says, right, move on. Life goes on. Open door number 2. And then when my wife died, that was a hard time for a while. But I got through that, and I just says, no, there's lives. I've got to contribute something. That's when we started the Moir Leishman Foundation. Let's give something back in her honour. £1.1 million, Ian. All the volunteers, amazing. And these are things I'm really proud of, Ian.
Well, you are beloved by everybody in this town, Jim, and I wish you Godspeed in your 3rd term as Provost.
Well, here's hoping. Here's hoping it goes. Ian, I'm for the people, and if there's anybody I can help, I'll be there standing by your side. And good luck with this. This is improving the fire station. What a difference when you start it off, not knowing where your journey was going to take you in, but it's been a positive journey, and I look forward to coming and having a beer with you sometime.
Thanks very much, Jim.
A pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.